That's not good. That is not good. Yeah. Show you how frustrating this has been. So I know coming out, this thing was painful, but going in was ridiculous. I don't know if you could even see. Okay, there's one bolt up in there. There's another over there. But like, you know, you can't reach. You can't get your hand in there. You can't get your hand in here. Getting the spring in to sit in its cup was ridiculously difficult. And then all the meanwhile, you got this massive thing where your back's been sitting. You can't open your shoulders. My shoulders have been like this. Trying to get stuff and you can't fucking open your shoulders up. That was hard coming out the first time. That was ridiculously hard going together. Getting those bolts started when you can't put your fingers on them and they're inside a little cage up there. Jeez Louise. Okay, it's in. I need a break. I'm sore as hell. We'll pick this up shortly. Okay, so we're back here, kind of touching up stuff that we did on episode 1. If you haven't checked that out, up there somewhere, click a link. Yeah, the booster went back in. That was a serious pain, but we got that done. I flushed all the brakes. If anybody's ever curious, this has just worked so efficient for doing brake flushes by yourself. I just have a big Mighty Vac pump. These are also great for sucking out transmissions and stuff because they come with different size tubes here. You can shove it down dipstick holes and everything like that. Shove it down diffs on certain diffs that you just can't pull the pan or pull the cover on. And then for brakes, I just run it through this little Mighty Vac hand pump kit that the hand pumps kind of suck, but yeah, pretty cool. So next we're going to be tackling some oil leaks. We got the electrical stuff to figure out. We're getting close. I'm excited to drive this thing. All this hard work, I think I'll be taking on a good long test drive, go get some coffee and stuff. Okay guys, I think I'm finally caught up. I got the brakes all buttoned up now. Everything's flushed. Exhaust work done. Time to start tackling some oil leaks. So I'm gonna start with the oil pan here. You can see that, but just sitting here, it's still dripping. Gasket must be torn. I'm hoping I can, well, I'm gonna RTV it. I'll silicone it once I tear it all apart. There's an oil leak up here too. We'll change the engine oil and we'll just start working our way back through the vehicle, seeing what else I need to reseal. Yeah, let's get going on this. Ooh, that's not good. That is not good. Shit. This one. Okay, so yeah, you just seen that. It's coolant in the oil. When I first seen it, I was like, did I just see that? And I had a drip on my glove still. But you know, you taste coolant. I don't think you're supposed to do that. But if you've ever tasted coolant, you never forget the taste. There's coolant in the oil pan. I'm assuming what's happening here is, you know, the head gasket's leaking in a spot where it's getting to an oil gallery. Engine ran good, no over temps, no smoke, no issues. But this thing would have been started up, driven, parked, and, you know, pressurized coolant. It'll find its way if there's a fault in the head gasket. I'm hoping it's just the head gasket and we don't have any cylinder head issues. Unfortunately, you know what to do. We got to deal with this. Yeah. One of those days. I messaged my customer. They are going to swing by and we will discuss options. Really, there's only one option. We got to fix it, right? We got to tear it apart. Wasn't planning on, I was hoping to get it out of here pretty soon. Obviously, the weather is prime for a convertible, but, you know, and the way shipping parts and shit goes, because I can't go down to the local parts store and just get what I need. You know, it could push us another week to 2 weeks on parts. Tear down. Hopefully, you know, I can check everything in shop and we don't have to go to a machine shop for anything. Sun feels good. All right, everybody, so real quick, this is where we're at. I've kind of paused a little bit at this point because I've been researching, trying to figure out how all the timing marks work on this engine, which is a little bit complicated. I don't have a service manual for this. Identifix doesn't have anything, so my subscription there is a waste of money for this vehicle. I established TDC on number 1. I put something in the hole, made sure the piston was at the top of its travel. Down here on the crank, I got this set now. I know we're accurate there. Timing marks back here. Our exhaust cam is pretty darn close, but our intake cam is off a fair bit. Also, there's no master link on the chain exposed. So the way I was gonna take this off, I'm not gonna be able to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pause here, not rush this moment. Just try to find a little bit better information to go with. Yeah, getting it to this stage was actually not hard. It was everything went smooth. Somebody's definitely been in here before. A lot of bolts were loose, some clamps were missing, some washers were replaced with non-factory ones. You know, and reading on forums, actually, I found a lot of useful information. But if you look at this, for example, so this nut right here has a flat sealing surface right here. This is actually upside down. This should go facing down on the washer, and that's supposed to create even torque, or a more accurate torque, I should say. This one's right side up, that's okay. So like half of these are wrong, half of these are right. I learned that from reading the Alfa Romeo forums, so sweet. Or if I took this off from, you know, the factory, I hopefully would have caught that and made note of that. Yeah, doing this part was okay. Everything came apart pretty easy. Honestly, I'd rather do this than fucking take that booster out and in again. So I'm suspecting we'll find something in the head. Number 3 spark plug didn't look happy either. Oh well, more to come.